our webcast series, Workforce Resilience, A Vision from Leaders. Today we are delighted to speak with Sébastien Dano. Sébastien is the CEO of Cotecna, and he's going to share with us his views on the challenges triggered by COVID on his organization. Hello Sébastien, welcome.
Hello Cédric, and hello everyone.
So Sébastien, you're the CEO of Cotecna. Can you tell us a bit more who you are and what is Cotecna doing?
I'm a French citizen living in Switzerland with my family and having worked in this industry for 15 years. Cotecna is a global challenger in the TIC market. TIC is testing, inspection and certification, which means that we check and assess the conformity of products, and we work mainly in 5 business lines. One is agriculture products, mineral products, food safety, consumer products, and governments and trade solutions.
Jumping straight into the topic, what does workforce resilience mean for you in that context?
I think this concept of workforce resilience is quite interesting and in a way a hot topic and a new topic that maybe was not so discussed 1 year ago. For me, when I think at my staff and the way we operate day to day, I think this environment and COVID in particular has placed a number of new pressures and new hurdles in the way we operate. A lack of human interaction. We are a B2B services company where we have operators everywhere and contact for them on the field, contacting their colleagues, their back office and management is very important. I think the way we have barriers between the personal life, professional life and family life, these barriers are a bit blurred today, and there is a lot of uncertainty, which means a lot of lack of visibility on the future. For me, workforce resilience is how we can help ensure that despite these new pressures and these new constraints, people stay engaged, stay safe, and that's a key point, and I'm sure we will come back on it. But how do we provide support to make sure that the workforce continues to operate well, efficiently and safely despite these new constraints?
And on that topic of team engagement, what were the key actions that you've been driving to try to support the engagement of your team?
I think, again, we are a people business. So in the company, we have over 5,000 staff. People meet their colleagues all the time. I mean, they meet their clients, they meet they are in the field, in ports, etc. They are in constant interaction between people and with the management across the organization. These contacts are very important to share knowledge, to share best practices. People perform, and when they feel well within the teams and they feel supported. And the key points and the key concern we've had is how to maintain this human touch in the way we drive businesses. The way we've answered that has been, in phases. It has evolved over time, but once we understood that this crisis was there, one of the key topics we decided is really to enforce by all means communication, being transparent around the situation, the health and sanitary situation, the business situation, and how these two combined could impact people. So when we started 1 year ago, it was daily, weekly meetings with all regional teams, looking at first focusing on health and safety, second on business continuity, and third on financial sustainability of the operations. And again, we put in place this framework to have weekly communication with the team. And then as people start to embed this in their processes, the frequency could be a little bit lower. We start to have these meetings once a month. But again, once this channel of communication was in place, then we started to implement new ways of communication. A lot of access to top management with different formats. I was writing notes to the staff every week or every 2 weeks, directly to all the staff. We organized webcasts with me and the management team, which was something quite new, open to all the staff, open to question, where I was trying to give them perspective on what we were doing from a sanitary standpoint and a business standpoint. And again, trying to bring a little bit of creativity in the way we could interact, just to avoid being in a kind of routine, because already what I could feel is that when people have to be working from home for a long time, they need something to take them out of the routine, and that's what we tried from the corporate side.
And so on the engagement topic, you refer to communication, but the first topic you communicate on is health and safety. Very close to keep people safe. So on that topic of health and safety, what have been your top priorities during the past months?
What's interesting for us is that health and safety was a topic that we wanted to push in the organization before COVID. I mean, it was on our agenda for last year as part of, we are a company which is growing quite fast. And one of the areas where I wanted to raise awareness was health and safety. In a way, it was a blessing in disguise that COVID was an accelerator of a number of initiatives we wanted to have. The first topic we addressed was PPE. We have people in the field. I mean, they have to take care of their health and safety. And sometimes that's an area where we were looking to make improvements. Through this crisis, we could reinforce immediately the message on PPE linked to daily activities and linked to COVID. We have a few laboratories where we have, in Italy, 500 people in the same facility. The key topic was how do we make sure that we can organize distancing, shifts, new PPE to be able to ensure that there would be no contamination in the lab.
So your first topic was PPE, and then what are the other priorities, potentially not necessarily on the pandemic aspect, but the rest of the health agenda?
PPE, well, one thing maybe worth noting, because we are global, we had our China office impacted first, and when the rest of the world was impacted, China was already out of not completely out, but nearly at the end of the first phase. So we used China as a framework because they had put in place the continuity planning and the health and safety and the PPE, the mask and etc. supply. So we use them as a benchmark to roll out what they had done across the group, and that was quite efficient to be able to do it quickly. And China, we used China as a center to source PPE for places where we couldn't find masks. And if you remember last April, there was a big shortage of masks. In some of operations, like labs in particular, where we had a big concentration of people, sourcing PPE was critical, business critical to be able to continue to operate. So that was a good topic. Again, so that was first way on HSC, but we launched a few campaigns around health and safety topics across the year. We decided to review our lifesavers, or the key rules that apply to field officers, to lab officers, reinforcing the message on the risk they face, being at nearby a ship in the port or handling chemicals in the laboratories. So we refocused, we redesigned and launched campaigns on that. We pushed for a safety week. And I think I'll come back on it, but in this crisis and in this time of uncertainty, you need to give people purpose, and safety was a very meaningful topic. We engage people around one topic, which is common to everyone, and actually we had a lot of engagement of the teams to do local events around safety. And again, we organized a number of tools, online tools, through e-trainings, through local courses for first aid, etc., which helped create this energy around safety, and also on the reporting on health and safety risk. This crisis helped us a lot because we implemented a number of reporting linked to a number of people who tested positive or who had to stay away from work to deal with their families, etc. So we had reporting in place, and we managed to increase the reporting on HSC, and now we have a much more visibility on the situation.
If you look at the future now and let's say the coming months or the coming year, what, from a health perspective or health and safety perspective, what is COVID changing? What new drivers do you see as a consequence of this COVID crisis?
I think in terms of health, first, I think we have to take care of our employees' physical health, which was part of our daily duty, to make sure that whenever we send a staff in a port or in a client facility, they are safe, they know the risk, and they come back home safe. I think there's more consciousness around mental health and mental balance, I would say. And again, here it has created a number of initiatives around how we give them purpose in what they do, and maybe I'll come back on it. And then it's a mindset. I think the important thing is now everyone in the company has changed a mindset where the health and safety of their staff is a given that they have to look at all the time. I think from a business standpoint, it also, we were pushing a constant mission around agility and flexibility. I think the way we reacted to this crisis was a very good example of how reactivity and flexibility allows us to be more efficient and provide a better response than our competitors.
You mentioned physical health. On that topic, there are currently some some burning issues. Vaccination is one, traveling is another one, and we know that a lot of organizations have to travel to survive. And with the footprint you described, I guess that travel is a topic for you as well. How do you address that today, or how do you see the next future on that topic of travel?
This is a very important point for a company like ourselves. Again, we are in 50 countries. We are a service business with a lot of small units. So being able to visit these units, discuss about the future prospects and their challenges is a part of the way we run the company. Of course, we've been constrained in our ability to travel. Our policy has been that everywhere we adapt. The minimum standard is the constraints put by authority. So we have to respect that and make sure that at minimum we respect it. And actually, in many countries, we go one step further and have a level of caution, of precaution, which is higher than what the authorities provide. And today, again, we have to navigate these constraints. In a number of regions, people cannot go from the regional office to the local offices. In India, people cannot get outside of India, so we have to live with this constraint. In Switzerland, where we're based, well, every week the places where you could go are changed. So we have to adapt to that. Here in Geneva, people who want to travel, it has to be approved by me or by the COO of the company. So we have a process to limit travels to the minimum possible. At the same time, when we can travel and where it's meaningful, we try to continue.
And looking at vaccination, I mean, this week plenty of news on vaccines performance, vaccine risks. So how do you see that topic as an employer?
My view on that is, as a non-scientific employer, we have to be quite humble. There are a lot of scientific people developing vaccines. We have authorities, validating vaccines. In my view, is we have to use the advice of competent people on these topics. It's a question that is very relevant and very frequent in a number of our offices. People ask in places in Africa, in Middle East, in India, where vaccine might not be available soon. They are asking us what could we do to help them. And of course, today, whatever we can do has to be in the framework of local health authorities' policies. So it's not very advanced in a lot of places. In China, it starts to be structured, and we have applied. In China, companies can apply to governments to be able to be the channels to vaccinate their staff, and we've applied to that and offering vaccination to our employees. I think we will adapt again to every local individual situation to be able to put the most suitable response to support vaccination when that is the view of the authorities. So again, it's adaptability and proactivity when it's possible.
So now stepping back a little bit from the health topic and looking at the, let's say, next year or so, if you had a key concern, a key worry that COVID would be triggering, what would it be?
I think we are quite fortunate at Cotecna because we are a small business growing quite fast. We are expanding our big business through acquisitions. Last year, the impact on our business was quite limited because, and we have the communication behind me, we support essential activities, food safety, food supply, safety of what you eat, energy supply. I mean, there are supply chains which help the economy continue to run. And because of that, despite a few short-term logistical issues, we continue to operate everywhere, and the impact on our business has been quite limited. For me, the key concern is the human link with our employees. We are a network. Normally, I used to travel a lot, and a number of people in the head office here travel a lot because creating and maintaining this link with the network is very important. And today, I mean, this link, we have to find new ways to create it beyond the physical interaction. So the key challenge for me is, if for longer term we are constrained in our ability to meet people, how do we reinvent ourselves constantly to maintain this link and maintain this sense of belonging of network when the link with other offices is weaker.
And on that topic of growing that human link or human touch, as you said before, any insights you would like to share with us? Any things that you did over the past months and you thought extremely relevant, very impactful?
Yeah, 3 topics. I think people like to be told the truth. If there is a lot of uncertainty in the environment, the more transparent you can be in your communication, the more secure people will feel. And that's what I've been trying to do for the past year. A lot of communications, no filters, open Q&A, open to everyone. Any question is welcome, and we try to be as transparent as possible. The second point was really to give purpose. That's the thing we did with our teams last year. Okay, everyone goes to work every day. And in a way, people are happy to continue to work. But when you have a lot of tension in your life, I think it's good to remind and to understand why it's meaningful to do what you do. And for us, the fact that we could, underline the message that we are a lot of people working in teams, supporting essential activities around food supply, key consumer product supply in emerging markets has been critical to provide again energy to the network. And the third point for me was how we could support officers, give back more support to communities. There was also a plan to increase the amount of CSR activities, and we pushed all the officers to do more work and give back more to their communities. And again, I think this was important for people to feel that, okay, they are part of Cotecna, they continue to work. But beyond Cotecna, we try as a company to give back more to communities and support people who are not as fortunate as us in terms of level of activity.
Sébastien, a last question. In 10 years' time, when you will remember all that, what will be the one thing you will keep of that time?
I think we lived so many things in 1 year. Remembering one will be tough. I think for me is how this crisis revealed the huge power we have in this company to change things, adapting to constraints which you didn't know, pushing for growth projects even in difficult environment, and identifying new ideas, working in teams and the teamwork across the network. People in China trying to help people in the US, and next week in Argentina. Getting support from the network was huge, and I think the resilience of the team has been amazing. So we resisted the crisis. I think the company, we discussed some topics, but on health and safety, on CSR, on sense of being, on how we present ourselves, we made huge steps. And I think it reflected for me the energy that a company can show, but more generally the energy and the resilience of any people to any form of obstacle. And I think that for me has been really striking.
Thank you very much for that conclusion with team resilience. A nice conclusion for workforce resilience, a vision from leaders. And we wish all the best to you and to Cotecna.
Thank you very much, Cédric.